So today, we're going to tackle one of the biggest journeys a person can take, the path to becoming a U.S. citizen. We're going to frame this whole thing as a personal quest, with its own call to adventure, its trials, and of course, its ultimate destination. Let's dive in.
The United States is, at its very core, a nation of immigrants. It's been strengthened by generations of people who come here looking for a better life. So deciding to become a citizen, well, it's so much more than just filling out forms. It's a really profound commitment to this country, to its constitution, and to its people.
E pluribus unum, out of many, one. This motto really just nails the whole spirit of American citizenship, doesn't it? It speaks to a nation that's built from all these diverse cultures, but is united by a set of shared civic values. And that right there, that's the foundation of the journey we're exploring.
Look, we get it. The whole naturalization process can seem really complex, maybe even a little overwhelming. So our goal with this explainer is pretty simple. We just want to be your guide. We're going to break down the steps, clarify the requirements, and basically map out the entire path for you.
Every journey starts with a why, right? So what's the big call to adventure for an aspiring citizen? Let's take a look at what it really means to take this step, balancing all the new benefits with some pretty important new responsibilities.
Okay, so becoming a citizen is really all about balance. On one hand, you gain some incredibly powerful rights, like voting in federal elections, helping family members immigrate, and traveling with that blue U.S. passport. But on the other hand, you're also accepting some pretty solemn duties to support and defend the Constitution, to serve the country if you're ever required to, and to participate in our democracy by voting and serving on a jury. It's truly a two-way commitment.
All right, so once you know why you want to do this, the next stage is all about preparation. Who can actually embark on this quest? This is where we get into the practical, nuts and bolts requirements, and it all starts with your time as a lawful permanent resident.
So the first big hurdle is time. Generally, you need to have been a lawful permanent resident, a green card holder, for at least 5 years. But there's a really important exception. If you're married to a U.S. citizen, that waiting period gets cut down to just 3 years. This is kind of the first gate you have to pass through on your journey.
And hey, here's a little pro tip for you. You can actually get a head start. The rules let you file your application 90 days before you officially hit that residency milestone. It's pretty simple. Just find the resident since date on your green card, add the 3 or 5 years you need, and then count back 90 days from that date. And voila, that's your earliest possible filing day.
Okay, now we're getting into the real heart of the journey, what we're calling the road of trials. This is where you officially kick off the process with the application itself, which, involves all the paperwork, the costs, and a pretty clear timeline of what to expect.
So let's talk about the central document here, Form N-400. This is the official application for naturalization. When you submit this form to USCIS, that's the first real concrete step you take to go from being a green card holder to becoming a full U.S. citizen.
Every quest has its costs. For the N-400 application, the government filing fee is currently $760. Think of this as the direct financial investment you have to make to get your application in the door and start the process.
Now, beyond the fee, there's the investment of your time. And I've got some really good news here. Processing speeds have gotten way, way better. Not too long ago, this could take a year, sometimes even longer. But right now, the median time from when you submit your application to when you get a decision is only about 5.5 months.
So what does that 5-ish month process actually look like? Well, it follows 5 key steps. First, you submit that N-400. Then, you'll go to what's called a biometrics appointment for fingerprints. Next up is the main event, the citizenship interview and test. After that, you'll get a decision from USCIS, and the final step is taking the oath of allegiance.
And just to make sure you're ready to go, here are some of the absolute key documents you'll need to gather. Everybody needs a copy of their green card, and of course, the payment for the fee. If you're applying based on marriage, you'll need proof of that marriage and your spouse's citizenship. And a big one to remember, any document that's not in English has to be submitted with a certified translation.
This path isn't a one-size-fits-all kind of thing. For some people, the journey involves navigating a kind of labyrinth of special circumstances, and this is especially true for applicants who have severe disabilities.
So what happens in those cases? Well, the process is actually designed to be accessible. The law provides for exceptions, or waivers as they're called, for applicants whose physical or mental impairments stop them from being able to meet certain requirements.
One of the most important exceptions is something called the oath waiver.
This is specifically for applicants with really profound disabilities who just aren't able to understand or communicate that they agree to the oath of allegiance, that final promise you make to become a citizen.
Now, it is absolutely crucial to understand that there are two separate waivers here, and they get confused all the time. The first one, which uses Form N648, is for the English and civics test. This is all about knowledge. The second one is the oath waiver we just talked about, which is about understanding a solemn promise. They are not the same thing at all.
And this distinction has actually led to a real-world problem. A new question about the oath was added to Form N648. Remember, that's the form for the test waiver. This can really confuse doctors, making them think they need to request the much more complicated oath waiver when their patient actually only needs the test waiver. It ends up creating this totally unnecessary roadblock for the applicant.
After all the preparation, all the paperwork, and all the tests, the journey finally reaches this incredibly powerful and emotional conclusion, the ceremony where an applicant takes the oath of allegiance and officially, finally, becomes a citizen.
This little piece of the oath of allegiance, wow, it just captures the full weight of that final step. It's this profound promise to uphold the core principles of the nation. It really marks the end of the naturalization journey and the beginning of a brand new chapter as a U.S. citizen.
And just like that, the formal journey is over. But it really leaves us with a much bigger question, doesn't it? The process defines how you become a citizen, but what does it truly mean to be an American? Well, that's a question that each new citizen, and really all of us, get to answer every single day.